Formula One goes to Interlagos for the Sao Paulo GP, and we see a chaotic opening to the race with a driver picking up their first career Formula One victory. What's going, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching the Formula One race from Sao Paulo at Interlagos. We're going to talk about everything that happened in the race, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So, the beginning of this race was extremely chaotic. Felt like a NASCAR race. At the beginning, on lap 1 of the race, around turn 6 or 7, the first safety car of the race would end up coming out for contact between Daniel Ricciardo and then Kevin Magnussen backed into, who actually won base star on the pole for the sprint race. He would end up backing back into Daniel Ricciardo. Do not understand what Daniel Ricciardo was doing right there. He tried to be here on lap number 1. That was pretty stupid in my opinion. You've got 71 laps to make moves on drivers. I understand it's very difficult to pass in Formula 1, but Interlagos has a lot of passing zones. You don't need to try to be a hero on lap number 1, and you took each other out of contention. And this is probably why Daniel Ricciardo will not be in Formula 1 next year in any shape or form. And probably we don't even know if he'll be in 2024 because of his stupid move. And that was just completely stupid by Daniel Ricciardo, in my opinion. I don't understand what he's doing. After the safety car happened, we went back green, and chaos once again struck on the first lap of the restart. First thing that happened was between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen was on the outside of Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton didn't get enough room, but Max Verstappen overdrove into the corner and got into Lewis Hamilton, puncturing, I think, his tire. Lewis got a little bit of damage, I think, but Max Verstappen got a ton of damage. Max would be handed a 5-second time penalty from that. In my opinion, I think that was just a racing incident, but I think in the situation, you can look at it from different angles and see that basically he was defending another driver as well, so therefore probably should have gotten a penalty. Then later in that lap, we saw contact between Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc, where Lando Norris completely got into Charles Leclerc and spun him out. That one's pretty cut and dry. 5-second time penalty. That was completely on Lando Norris. He overdrove the corner, got loose in the corner, and then basically got into Charles Leclerc. Now, shockingly, there was not a safety car from that, but this took Leclerc and Verstappen out of contention overall for the victory of this race. So after that, this race became a strategy, and it would actually really, for most of the race, come down between Lewis Hamilton and George Russell for the overall victory. George Russell was basically doing some different strategies while Lewis Hamilton was doing other strategies. And with around 27 laps to go, George came to pit road to basically put on tires. Lewis then came down and basically put soft tires on, and they felt the tire was a lot better, and Lewis was questioning that on the radio. The final safety car, though, would come out with around 16 to 17 laps to go for Lando Norris, who lost power in his car. Very tough ending on his birthday because it is his birthday today, so very disappointing end for Lando Norris, who was already under the weather as it is and was unclear if he'd be racing this weekend or not, but luckily he was able to race, but unfortunately he fell out of his race. Once we got back going, though, this race ended up being really good, especially behind Lewis Hamilton. We saw great racing between Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, and even Max Verstappen, who restarted 10th and got all the way up to around 6th position, and Sergio Perez, who dropped from 3rd position all the way back to 7th by the end of this race. George Russell had about a 1.3-second lead, and Lewis Hamilton tried to close, but it would not be enough. And coming off the final corner, after a few years of trials and tribulation and coming up short a few years ago, George Russell finally picks up his first career Formula 1 victory in the Sao Paulo GP at Interlagos. Massive congratulations to George Russell. In my opinion, he had 100% the best car in this race, a clear domination race in my opinion, and 100% deserves the victory. Mercedes, this is also Mercedes' first Grand Prix victory of the season. They did win the sprint race yesterday with George Russell, so George Russell does end up sweeping the weekend by winning the sprint race and the main Formula 1 race, but George Russell is a Grand Prix winner. So congratulations to George Russell. George, I think, is going to be a champion of Formula 1 one day. Mercedes, they had really good pace and speed today. They were the dominant pit duo, and congratulations to Mercedes on picking up a victory. So George Russell is a Formula 1 winner. So now, we're going to go ahead and go look at the results of today's race, and I'll give you my score of today's F1 race. And keep in mind, when I go to the F1 score, the standards are going to be a little bit different than a NASCAR race. So, George Russell picks up the victory. Lewis Hamilton finishes second. Lewis had a great day as well. Probably one of Lewis's best drives of the season so far. A really great day for him. It's been a struggling year for Mercedes. Good to see Lewis Hamilton finish second. Carlos Sainz finishes third. Carlos Sainz had an up and down day. They had a tire issue in the middle of the race, but they were able to come back and finish on the podium. Great run from Carlos Sainz. Charles Leclerc finishes fourth. Great rebound for Charles Leclerc. Leclerc was at one point around an 18th or 19th position, and a rebound back up to fourth is great for Leclerc. Didn't have the pace and speed to win, but a fourth-place run, great comeback from him. How about Fernando Alonso finishing fifth? Alonso had a pretty good car today, was around 7th or 8th most of the day, ends up finishing 5th. Good run for Alonso. Max Verstappen, who had to pit 2 or 3 times in a race, who had a 5-second time penalty from the contact, He finishes in 6th. Great comeback for Max Verstappen in this race. That one car looked pretty solid at the end. They were actually really fast as to the leaders. Just not enough time to get up there, but a 6th place finish is really good. Sergio Perez, who there's a little bit of controversy between him and Max Verstappen with the radio communications of letting, if they couldn't get up to Alonso and pass, they would have let Perez back by. They didn't let him back by, so that's unfortunate. But Sergio Perez, he finished 7th. Terrible tire at the end of the race, put him back in 7th. He had a podium position in the works. Esteban Ocon finishes 8th, Valtteri Bottas finishes 9th, and Lance Stroll gets the final points position in 10th. Sebastian Vettel finishes in 11th, Zhou Guanyu finishes in 12th, Mick Schumacher finishes 13th, Pierre Gasly, who had, I think, a 5-second time penalty, he finishes 14th, Alex Albon finishes 15th, Nicholas Latifi finishes 17th, Yuki Tsunoda finishes the last of the drivers running the race in 17th, Lando Norris finishes 18th, Kevin Magnussen finishes 19th after bidding the overall polls. Unfortunately, what happened to him, and then Daniel Ricciardo finishes last in 20th place. So now I'm going to talk about overall thoughts on today's race and give you my score of today's Formula 1 race. Now, look, generally Formula 1 races tend to be very, very boring, and you can't expect Formula 1 races to always be the most fantastic, especially since Formula 1 is a very aero-dependent series. I will say this race was one of the better races of the Formula 1 season so far. You had a lot of great racing throughout the field, some side-by-side. You also had some good battles and some good strategy happening in this race as well, and you really didn't know until they crossed the finish line who was going to win. So my score of today's F1 race at Interlagos, I'm going to give this race overall a 7 out of, actually an 8 out of 10. It's a very good race, in my opinion, for Formula 1 standards. If that was a NASCAR race, I'd probably give it around a 5 or 6. But for it being for an F1 race, I'm going to give it an overall 8 out of 10. I thought it was a very, very solid race, in my opinion. So, that is your today's short F1 race review from Interlagos. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and on Patreon as well. Links are below that, and comment your thoughts on today's F1 race at Interlagos. Let me know in the comments below. Before I close out today's video, I do want to wish my dad a happy birthday. My dad turned 57 today, so he's trying to basically spend the day as well as he can, and I want to hopefully spend some time with him tonight. Hopefully things go well at work today so he can have a very, very good day. Tomorrow on the channel, we should be having the first team preview for 2023 drop for 2311 Racing. That'll drop on Monday. Then Tuesday will likely be a NASCAR news video since I kind of want to wait till Tuesday to do that. Then we'll see what other news drops in the industry and all the motorsports industries as well, including some of the stuff that's happened here. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for some more great, awesome NASCAR content, F1 content, IndyCar content, you name it. We've got a lot of motorsports content dropping on the channel, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys here very, very soon. So guys, I'll see you later, and I'll see you for some more awesome and epic NASCAR content and F1 content. Take care, everybody.